Featuring D'Addario's proprietary NY steel wire and our impossibly thin protective coating, XS Electric lets you bend further and play longer with a sound that stays timeless.
This is Chris Keys for Premier Guitar. Today I'm joined by Matt Sweeney. Matt, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much. You guys know Matt today is joining us because of Superwolves, but obviously as Guitar Dorks, I'm sure you've seen Guitar Moves, all that good stuff on Vice and Noisy. But Matt is today here to talk about gear, but he's openly not anti-gear, but you're just not really into it. It's not your thing.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, so that's the jumping off point will actually be the two things I think that make your playing and your style unique is the fingerstyle approach, cool. Which is and flat wound strings, which you and along one of my other favorite guitar players, Mark Spear from Crimpin, goes
cool.
flat wounds.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that brings a whole different aura and sound to the setup of rock.
It does for sure.
So talk to me about how that started, because I know you didn't really you played with a pick from other interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
But now you're exclusive to fingerstyle?
Yeah, it just seems silly to play with a pick. I just don't get it. Because you could pretty much do everything that it would be like playing, it's like, you're like playing piano with your fist.
Now, when did you have that aha moment? Like, were there, the things kind of click?
I think there's always, rock is was appealing to me because I'm lazy and I'm stupid. And so, rock is awesome for that because you could sort of you could sound pretty decent pretty quickly by, doing standard rock shit.
Oh, yeah.
And then, just picking the thing. But then I always, had this awareness. And then, I don't know, and then actually Charo was the first guitar player who utterly blew my mind. And Charo, right? Yeah, because she's like one of the greatest guitar players in the world. And I happened to see her actually playing when I was a little kid. I remember being like, okay, so there's real guitar
and then there's
rock guitar, and I'm all for like stupid stuff. So like that's why I like rock. But then, like if you get into music, you kind of want to hear a different sound.
It's like a bigger vocabulary that you have.
It's 5 times as big, at least. You know what I mean? Like because you're using
5
or it's potentially 5 times.
Yeah, with 5 picks.
And so. It was just like a whole bunch of reasons, really. But who else? Seeing R.L. Burnside play, it's like, you see these guys. It's like, well, all the guys who sounded better weren't using picks.
Those hill country dudes were.
Yeah, and I got to see him play, and I would be like, well, how can he? Why is there so much incredible sound going on, and he's not doing it? It doesn't seem like they were doing anything, and I got sort of obsessed with trying to figure that out. And then I just then I went to a bluegrass festival, and a friend of mine had figured out some finger picking stuff, and then he showed me a pattern, and it just kind of occurred to me. I was like, well, why don't I just actually do the unsexy work of learning how to do it? Because that's the other thing, is because you're so used to shining your rock horn, so to speak, that you kind of like you just kind of. I don't know, like.
It's probably a humbling experience.
It's really humbling. That's what I mean. So you're so used to like sounding good
because you've established yourself as a player.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden you're like trying to figure out something really basic, and it's totally humiliating. And I think that's where people jump off because they're like, well, I play guitar to feel good, like I didn't play guitar to feel like. Not
a piece of shit, yeah.
Or just like incompetent,
yeah.
But then you kind of learn that vulnerability is a strength, and it's just like practicing a certain kind of thing that is, it's like having to learn how to ride a bike.
Do you recall that first pattern that your friend showed you?
Yeah. It's awesome. My friend Sam Dillon showed me. Is that? get rid of this phaser. I use a phaser because it upsets people. Like a month of saying fuck. Yeah. And then the other one that was, I don't know how I learned this. This one's still hard to play. Oh yeah, so. That's pretty much everything that I do is based off of that kind of stuff. So,
do you ever find like like when you're trying to convey something that's in your head, the idea of a sound, you miss like the attack of a pick?
No, because you can get it.
You can get
It's like,
there you go.
You know, and like kind of. I'm sometimes, and I should do like more stuff with a thumb pick, like Emmett, who I'm on tour with, and who's like
we'll speak to in a little bit.
Yeah, and Emmett Kelly is like, I guess my favorite guitar player. Like he can do it with the thumb pick. You can get into that with him. But yeah, it's fun. I'm trying to figure out how to do this shit. But it sounds kind of cool for it.
The scratchiness of the attack is almost it's appealing. Yeah. It adds like a tone to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And did the flat ones, the flat wound strings applied to your guitars, was that before, prior, or during that kind of evolution of your playing?
Well, I use my fingers and I use flat wound strings because I want to sound like shit. And what's appealing about sounding like shit is it sounds really fucking awesome. And what I mean by sounds like shit is just that maybe it's darker sounding and muddier and less distinct, less impressive. But no, really, once somebody told me that flat wound strings weren't commonly used until the early 70s, and I realized that most of the guitar sounds that I like are from before then, it was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole story, you know. And also they're just cooler. Also like look, there's no squeak.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. You know, so you can kind of, that changes things a lot, you know. I don't know, I always think that people should try them usually, especially if you have like a Telly, they sound really good. But I don't know, I usually recommend people try them because nobody ever recommends to try them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, and it can really change your shit up really, really quickly.
It's funny how the smaller things in terms of cost and the equation can change so much.
Totally.
And your attitude or approach to the instrument.
Yeah, and I think also just somewhere along the line I really did get taken with the idea of making whatever you have available sound as good as possible. And the only way that you can really do that is how you how you hit the fucking thing. You know? It's just because it's a percussion instrument, you know, like so, like, you know, it's like that's
where it starts. It's the rhythm of the instrument.
Yeah. So it's just like, and it's just there are so many fun ways. I feel like to get into playing and stuff, and I feel like it's totally. It's been blown wide open by younger players. I mean, like the kids on YouTube, particularly, it seems like a lot of young girls are doing fingerstyle stuff. The young women are doing really amazing stuff. And I don't. It's just when I flick around things that come up in my social media feed, I'm continuously blown away. And it's cool. There's tons of picking and stuff. I think that the kind of like the kind of rock whatever rules. Or whatever.
Foot on the monitor thing.
No, I mean that's always cool. No, no, but just like the kind of like, here's how you play guitar. You go like this, and you go, and you know, and what's important is this, you know, like this thing. It's like no, like this is way more important, in my opinion. Or just like things like that. I think it's been shaken up in a nice way, or I hope it has, because I certainly I was in my 20s. I was so bored with guitar, and I was like kind of had a bad attitude. And once I got into finger picking, it opened up a thing where it's like I still am not bored with playing guitar. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely no
A lot more doors to open.
Oh my God, yeah. You know, like I actually, it's weird that I like playing guitar because in my 20s, I definitely.
Was it a resentment or was it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I think it's resentment, insecurity, all the things that make rock music what it is.
Yeah. And that's your 20s for you. In
Yeah,
nutshell,
that's
kid.
totally right. The 20s are so bad, you don't even realize how like fucking freaking out.
Yeah.
Looking over your shoulder and shit, just bumming out.
Yeah.
Just, like,
For no reason.
Feeling like, yeah, it's like, dude, nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's like,
No.
but
Well,
yeah.
we should continue along this
Oh, yeah, sure,
discussion.
sure,
We
yeah.
have a beautiful
This
335.
one's cool, yeah. This is, I got this, when I got this, I looked it up on the interweb and it wasn't even on the interweb in the early 2000s. But it's a.
What's its story?
It's a TD,
Okay.
which means that it has a coil splitter,
Oh.
which, as far as I understand, because I don't know too much, but it makes the difference between like a.
Full humbuckers in the singles.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because like.
And do you mess with that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
actually. That's pretty cool because usually Fender, or you associate that sound more with a Fender
Style guitar.
thing.
But how did you come to own this instrument? Because it's a thing you use quite a
It was in
bit.
Chicago. Yeah, you know, I just ended up using it because it's the easiest one to play and it looks kind of cool. And that's kind of. It ends up being the easiest one.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because I like all my guitars a lot, but this is the most versatile one. It works great in the studio, and I think for the Superwolves stuff, just because it's like stuff that I've composed or whatever. I was like, I often like to challenge myself with whatever kind of just grab a guitar that looks cool and then make it work or whatever.
Yeah.
And then in this case, I was like, no, I should probably like use a really nice guitar, just because it's like I worked hard to write this shit. So.
And the new record, you use this, and I know you had a special acoustic, right? You had a Martin that you used in the studio?
I love that Martin. Yeah. I think that's the record is just
Just
this,
two?
those, and plus this cool guitar that my friend Jimmy made me. That's like
Cobra, yeah.
Yeah, man, the best.
Caveman, check them out too.
Yeah, check out Caveman and check out Jimmy Carbonetti. Carbonetti guitars are
Yeah,
really
what's its
cool.
name? He gave it a wild name. I know it's based on the Bo
named it,
Diddley.
but it's called I give the name.
We'll put it in the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. It's
like a Bo Diddley
It's the name
take,
of
right?
an Endless Boogie song. Oh, The Savagist.
Yeah. That's a great guitar name.
Yeah. But yeah, and I use that a little bit because that has like cool pickups that are like low output,
Okay.
which is like another funny thing. Like I didn't know until recently that like low output pickups sound better. You
More
think
sound, fuller frequencies.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I just normally I'd be like, well, high output must sound better because it's loud.
It's louder.
Yeah, it's like,
Back to the 20s thing where it's everything's louder and simpler.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this guitar. So, but yeah, I just ended up using it because I like it, and it's cool. It holds tune.
And I know that you get the Deluxe Reverb here. It looks like it's probably something you're renting or taking with you, or is this a personal amp? Because it looks pretty clean.
This was an amp that Fender was kind enough to give me and Emmett to use because Fender's nice. Matt for our Fender hooked us up with these because we were flying in from different places and but I'm really stoked on this amp. It's really cool. It sounds good. It's easy. It's I don't think I have it above 3 ever.
And you're using the reverb and the tremolo on it?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool. I guess you could use the reverb and tremolo on both channels. I recommend the shit out of these. Any of these little Fender silver faces that they're currently making are excellent and widely available, and I fully endorse using them. And then for like the amps that I have at home, I have a Lombardi. This company.
Huh.
I don't know. You could get a shot of this. Look up Lombardi, you won't believe it. They're an old Italian company. And their
Interesting.
stuff is absolutely incredible. And again, I'm not much of a gear guy, but boggles my mind that people don't know about this company. It's really good. Lombardi Amplificazioni.
And is it an active company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they make amazing shit, like amazing shit. And they make incredible microphones, which we use. Yeah, so I have a Lombardi amp, and then I have an amp that Austin Hooks made me, which is like a Bell & Howell projector amp.
Projectors.
Which actually, fuck, I have to pay him. Austin, I'm going to send you money.
Right when this is done.
Yeah, literally.
And then this goes on to the pedals, because remember when you talked to the magazine, you had, I think, maybe even, I don't even know if you had a pedal. You had a Nunez pedal, I think it was.
Well, this is kind of going back to this, doing the Superwolves thing live and stuff, because, of course, initially I was like, I'll just bring out whatever and make it work, and then I was like, I should probably have to get a fucking pedal board, and like just to kind of give some, because it's often just me, and then me and Emmett have sort of developed this 2 electric guitar sound, and I stole a lot of equipment ideas from Emmett.
I was going to ask, because someone is not in so much to gear.
Right.
Where do you churn? And then I
pedals.
guess you go to a friend.
I like distortion pedal. I mean, not real. I like overdrive pedals, and then luckily because I'm old and I've been around long enough that some people have been kind enough to reach out to me just along the way, and I find out about pedals here and there. So like the Earthquaker dudes years ago sent me these pedals.
Jamie and Julie are good people.
Yeah, they're so cool. And so and then this red one, somebody stole my other one from this coffee shop in Brooklyn, Variety Coffee, and I was really bummed out. I brought it. I was producing a band, and I thought maybe they'd want to use it for some overdubs. And it's a black strap electric green leaf pedal, and it's really cool because you could.
Yeah, let's hear some of these.
So that doesn't cancel. The notes don't cancel out like. So I don't think I've ever really heard that in it. I just thought it sounded cool. And I like that that the notes don't cancel each other out. You can play like a full chord, so it sounds.
And the Hot Cake is another level of distortion.
The Hot Cake is, I'm borrowing Will Oldham's, it's a New Zealand-based company, and Emmett swears by it. And Emmett was like, dude, get a fucking Hot Cake. I was like, okay, I'll get a Hot Cake. Actually, I don't know how to get one, and then Will lent me one. And it's just. So here's the difference. This is nothing, and this is Hot Cake.
Just really, kind of more.
Yeah, it's just more stuff.
And then you get the phaser to piss off people. How you got that
I
set?
love that. I try to use the phaser all the time. Years ago, I was like, oh wait, every record that's amazing has a fucking phaser.
Yeah.
They're particularly like 70s records. I love the way Waylon Jennings guitar sounds, and the Van Halen guy, and shit like that.
It just moves. It gives a little movement.
It's
and then you get the vibrato too, so that helps. You always got something moving.
Yeah. I mean, and phasers are just so cool, and I try to use it. I think actually I think it's on the whole time.
During soundcheck I could hear it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I brought out. In fact, the reason that I have a Hot Cake, which is incredible. I have a similar thing from Nunez amplification. That's another just kind of like a cook. I don't know what range driver it's called, but it just sort of cooks the sound a little bit, and and then this thing,
Dispatch.
The Echo, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know. It makes an echo sound.
It repeats.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm bummed that I have pedals. It's pretty humiliating.
Really?
But really, that's what music's about.
Yeah.
Being bummed, being humiliated. I thought it would be so cool if I was standing here and I was like, I don't use a pedal, man.
What about,
right? Wouldn't that be cool?
What about a tuner though? Would you come with a tuner? Or
No, man. I mean, if I was cool, I'd be like, yo, I'd just be sounding great. I wouldn't use anything. You know, I wouldn't even have a guitar. It'd be awesome.
Well, before we let you go, we talked to Emmett. You had mentioned that you guys kind of created a 2-guitar sound from a 1-guitar band or idea. So how have you guys coalesced in terms of like what he brings and what you do?
What's important about the way that me and Emmett play together is that we never, ever talk about it. It's actually true. I don't think I've ever had a fucking discussion with him about.
You just jam.
I mean, she just can't. He's like the best guitar player. So I feel like our style. It's great. We didn't even have to. It was like, because we both have worked together, but mostly separately with the same singer and writer, Will Oldham. So Emmett's done a ton of work with Will, and I've done a ton of work with Will, and usually separately. So I think it had to have been Will's idea to be like, well, why don't we do this tour and have you and Emmett? We'll just see what happens because it should be good.
Yeah.
We're like, duh, that's a good idea. We've done a previous tour where we had a bunch of musicians, and me and Emmett were the guitar players and stuff. But this was like the idea is like just these 2 guitars. That's it. You know.
No drums, no bass.
No. It's so nice to not play with drums and bass.
The instruments or the people?
I love playing bass. Like bass is the only bass is the thing. Like I'm a really nasty, gross rock bass player, and like all of my taste and humbleness goes out the window when I play or even talk about bass. I'm like, yeah, dude, I rip, because like I'm a guitar player, you know. And so guitar players are stupid, and so they overplay on bass and think it's great. It's awesome.
It's great.
So
very true.
Yeah, and I love and Emmett's one of my favorite bass players too. And he's kind of the same way, just lots of notes, no taste. But really, I've never had to talk about it. As soon as we started playing, it sounded fucking sick. But Emmett is a master at making everything sound better. I think, and also he's probably played about 10,000 more shows than I have.
He's a busy dude.
He's a very, very busy dude and stuff. So I'm looking forward to watching his rig rundown because we have a rule where we don't talk about this stuff. So I could watch his thing and then find out.
Technically, you wouldn't be talking. Yeah. Well, there you go. Hey, everyone, we're on the other side of the stage with Emmett Kelly. Emmett, how you doing?
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Let's just dive right into it.
Yeah.
Knowing you with Ty and other acts to have Les Pauls, we had talked off camera. You used to have a 59, then you're waiting to get back. 59 Les
Junior.
Paul. Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're waiting to get that. Was it like 5 years you've been waiting on it?
It's been a while. Yeah.
We won't call it the guy because we'll hopefully get you that guitar back. But talk to me about this Telly. When did you get it?
I haven't been using Les Pauls for years now.
Okay.
But, I play this Telly. It's a Jerry Donahue Telly. If you don't know Jerry Donahue, he was
Telecasters.
and Fairport Convention.
Oh yeah.
That's how I knew
Way
him.
back.
Yeah. But he's got a weird style of it's bridge, neck, out of phase, bridge, neck, in phase, neck with the tone, neck with the tone disabled, which is pretty cool because that out of phase thing is really nice, you know.
Do you use that a bunch with like when you're playing like in this
on this
gig?
tour? I use it a couple times for specific things when we chime in. Like I'll kind of do. It almost sounds like a 12-string sort of. Like I'll play an octave higher, and with that it sounds really shiny and cool. Yeah.
Well, right on.
Yeah.
And how long have you had this?
I guess a handful of years now. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been. Yeah.
And what strings do you put on there?
11s.
Strings or gauge? Ernie balls, Diodarios?
I mean, I've always used Diodarios, but I stopped caring, I think.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Are you also using flats, or are you using?
I use round wound. I used to use flats, but it was too expensive.
Yeah.
To keep, because especially in like, I normally play kind of a more aggressive music than on this tour normally, and I have to change my strings every other show, and it adds up after a while. Like,
it is a pricey proposition.
Yeah.
Now, Matt was saying that you use a thumb pick for this.
I use a thumb pick, yeah.
And is that?
I always use it.
Okay, so that's like your thing. It's not just for like comping with Matt.
I like to use my fingers, but sometimes I generally keep it right here and play like this.
Gotcha.
But then sometimes you gotta do the
dig
pick,
in.
you know? Yeah.
All right, well, we'll keep on. Is there anything we should know on before the pickups are the same, like as you got it? Nothing modded like that?
Well, I guess this is like a Jerry Donahue pickup, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, his redesign of a bridge tele pickup. I have no idea if it's any different.
Okay.
And this is apparently a Strat neck pickup instead of the one that they have.
Like a telling neck.
Yeah, which
Huh.
I've never liked a Tele until I found this one, and I love it completely to the point where my Strat that I've been using, I've just about, it's being modded right now to be identical to Tele electronically. So it'd be just 2 pickups, same pickup, same 5-way switch, because I like to have the out of phase thing. I generally like to try to figure out a way to get my guitar to sound as bad as possible.
Between you and Matt, you guys have an affinity for shit.
Well,
it's bad sounding.
It's like
air
there's
quotes.
something about the just sounding like it's broken, kind of. I don't know. You'll see. Yeah.
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 Well, continuing along here, we got another amp. As Matt said, I'm sure this is another gift from Fender.
Yeah, it's just a brand new, straight off the belt Deluxe, and it's great. But it's I have to use stuff all the time to make it sound the right way.
And then just let's start there. Then with the pedalboard, is that one thing that I know that you've had for a while, and that you.
Well, I've been putting together pedal boards for a long time, but like it's starting to get to a point where I think that this is sort of the way I want it to be. So
can you show the camera if we bend down real quick?
Sure.
Just show what you mean by that.
Well, it's just I don't know if you can see, but I've had it like I screwed everything onto the board so that it's just for cleanness. I mean, I was using zip ties like this kind of, and
okay.
And like, you know, like for a long time this was just hanging loose, and like the zip tie would get in the way of the pedals. So sometimes if I stepped on it, it wouldn't turn on, you know. So I kind of just went to town on it and figured out this way of bolting everything to the board, and it's great.
It looks crude, but it's very thought out.
It's super thought out. I mean, like it took me a long time to figure it out, but yeah. So
you start, like I said, you help Matt get the hotcake, but this is the thing that I know you've had for a while. It's kind of.
I use the hotcake all the time, and it's my favorite pedal. This one's cool because it's 2 in 1, and it's cool because sometimes I'll use it just as like as if it's like overdriving an amp, kind of like. For this type of gig, we play pretty quiet. Like I can't really drive the amp, you know.
Yeah.
So I use that to kind of make it sound like that, sort of. I mean, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like the hotcake, but there's a second one to be like up all the way because it really sings, you know. Yeah, it's the clearest distortion. I mean, I just love. I can really get notes to be crystal clear, which is. You know, important to me a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Can we hear the 2 kind of voices it has there?
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It takes it from a Fender to a whole nother world.
It just rips it into. But you know, that's what the Fender sounds like.
Yeah.
So it's like that's how I sound.
And I'm sure Perry will show up a picture, but yeah, literally the second side and the left side of the pedal, everything's goosed.
Yeah, it's up all the way. And then there's like a second drive because it's like I guess it's in line, so
it's running into it.
It's I don't know. I don't really understand how it works, but I love it.
You like how it sounds, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe I'll let
you. The
other
other thing that's on all the time is the phaser. I never ever turn it on.
And you have to kind of dial.
It's the slowest setting, and I just like for it to always be kind of morphing. Pretty mild, but it's really significant.
But if you're listening, you know something's happening. It's
just the imaging is kind of going like this, really slowly.
Yeah.
And it's cool because, I mean, I like to have one amp. I mean, I normally use 2 amps, and I like to have one amp not with a phaser. So that what's actually happening is kind of a weird imaging thing. If you're standing right in front of me, you can hear your perspective shift.
Yeah.
Which I only want to sound like trippy. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but like I like hallucinatory kind of things, and so anything I can do to make it sound like that.
Yeah, to let it kind of wash over you.
Yeah.
And how are you using the tremolo?
Oh, this is like Ferg. I play with Ferg sometimes. Who's opening up for us, and he's like, "Will you come and sit in with me?" I'm like, "Sure." And he's like, "You got tremolo?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, I'll bring you a pedal." And
TR2.
so, well, it's just, I guess it's crucial to his sound.
Yeah.
So, we'll see, but it's just a normal tremolo, and it wouldn't be there.
It wouldn't get screwed in, is what we're saying.
I wouldn't use it. It's cool though, whatever.
Now we had talked right before we started rolling that these 3 pedals that we're going to in line here.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
not
So
familiar
these-
with the company company. So talk to
This
me about
company called Frederick Effects.
Oh, okay.
And from what I gather, they're basically dudes in a band who can't afford pedals, which is like sort of the situation. You know, a super fuzz, a Cheney super fuzz is like too expensive. It's like $700,
Yeah,
$1,000.
Enough you could get for an instrument.
I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's just a piece of nothing. You could make it for 10 cents. You know?
Yeah.
And so it's like that's the best fuzz there is, and so or the companion fuzz, which is the one that I like more. Similarly, it's like if you found one, it's like $500 for a fuzz pedal. I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's like a collector's item, but it's bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
And especially when you're supposed to play the damn thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyway, Frederick Effects guys, I guess they play in a band. They're British, but I don't know. I tried to write to them, but they didn't respond. But because
This might get their attention.
I love these pedals so much. I mean, like they're the first one is a combination of the super fuzz and the companion fuzz, and I use it in the companion setting, and it's just shitty, like awesome. I mean, it's amazing, you know.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
And then this other one next to it is called a Verzerer, I guess, and it's modeled after what they said was the only East German fuzz pedal, called the Baum Trick Verzerer. But I've never seen anything like it. It looks like a VHS cassette kind of.
Wow.
But I don't know what it is, but it sounds kind of like you're plugged straight into your stereo system, but it's broken. And it's just cool as hell. The best is when they're both on. And then there's this other one that's the Regent, which I just got, which is like a preamp to a Vermona amplifier, which is also an East German amp. And apparently they're just some shitty East German crappy amp that's like in all, apparently like if you went in a certain era, if you were at a gig, that's the amp that would be there, the Vermona Regent.
Kind of like going on Broadway, you got the PVs. The PV's like a standard.
Yeah, it's like the
club thing.
PV,
Yeah.
maybe of like the Eastern Bloc, and it sounds like. The way that I like it is to have the hotcake kind of driving a little bit. And then I'll put this to boost that even further.
Here's a really dumb question, but do you ever run all 4?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's fucking right. I'm curious what Jerry Donahue would think of what's the noises coming out of that sucker.
If you're watching this, please get in touch. The secret of all of these, though, is the Miku Stomp pedal.
I was gonna, yeah,
Which is,
the graphic nature of the pedal is very.
It's a really bizarre pedal,
Yeah.
and I keep it. I mean, the reason why I got it is because this friend of mine named Vice in LA, he
does a lot of video work.
he does the videos, and but one of his videos is that does a lot of Earthquaker Devices pedal things.
Yep.
And I did one, and it was cool. Like, he had this mountain of Earthquaker pedals behind me, like, as I was doing the thing. And there was a mountain, literally, because they have like 100 pedals or something. But either way, like, on top of this mountain was this soul weird Korg pedal with an anime character on it. And I was like, what the hell is that? And he's like, oh, they call that the least usable pedal on Earth. And I was like, cool. And so I immediately went home and bought it. I had no idea what it was. I mean, it was like, okay, worst pedal of all time. It transforms your guitar or anything you feed into it into singing voice of this anime character.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, no, and it's really cool because there's different like phonetic sounds. And there's two random settings for different phonetics, and then there's phrases which apparently are randomly generated Japanese words. But I can't tell you what they are. I don't know if anyone could. But,
Man.
It's a pretty wild because, I mean, it sounds ridiculous. But the best thing ever is this.
So specifically in the context of this gig that you're doing right now, like how does it get?
This doesn't get turned on.
Oh.
I mean, I use this because, like, I'm really into, I don't know, especially over the past few years, I've been kind of like starting over in a lot of ways. But like one of the things is like why would you choose to play a note or another note? I mean, like what's the point of doing any musical gesture? Which may sound ridiculous, but it's real. I mean, and
That's a severe introspection.
well, yeah, it's kind of like a nervous breakdown in a sense, but it's actually really good because I think about things as music, and music is a pretty vast landscape. It's just that it's you kind of get into a tunnel vision situation, or like kind of like Groundhog's Day thing where you pick up the guitar and it's just like kind of like, shit, is this like what I'm doomed to do forever?
Yeah, like
and
a loop.
Yeah, and so whatever. I mean, it's cool. I love the guitar and I love all these old chords, but I kind of want to find a new reason or a new place to start. Or that's why I got really into synthesizer. But then this pedal is interesting to me because it kind of works almost like a pitch to voltage converter, but it's not. I mean, it's just a shitty idea, brilliant idea, but it's you put a note into it, or you put audio into it, and it tries to track it with its weird, crude technology, and so it's it's really dorky if you try to do it.
Yeah.
It's really dorky, but if you try to like put like obscure sounds into it, that doesn't sound like anything.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool because it like introduces random notes.
Have you fed it through your keys and synthesizers?
I mean, yeah, I've done like sent a lot of stuff in there. I mean, I was for a while trying to make something out of some Evan Parker records where I would play a record of like a saxophone solo into something like this or an actual pitch to voltage thing to try to like make kind of weird collage-y music out of his saxophone. The coolest thing about this kind of stuff is that it's not remotely close to perfect. So something else comes out. I mean, like you can talk into that thing and it'll try to find the notes, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because there are notes. It's just we don't think of things. I don't know.
That's how our voices.
Noise is a note. Is notes, and sounds everywhere. Like the sound of the air conditioner, you could feed that in there, and it would probably just be a drone, but it would determine a note. In some weird way, something is resonating in it. It's just kind of cool because it's and I use it in some like improvise stuff, or in Ty's band a lot. I use it because oftentimes it's just complete madness is sort of.
Well, chaos is encouraged, I'm sure.
Well, it's just, I don't know about chaos, but it's sometimes madness is encouraged. And so I keep the Miku stomp at available distance so I can play some weird ass shit.
Madness can ensue.
But the phaser is always on, and then mainly like I don't really like to like mess around with pedals too much, but as you can see, the only things I'm really interested in are getting it to sound weird, get the signal to sound different. So it's like different gain stages or different distortions or fuzzes. That's like the only thing I really care about as far as that goes. Yeah. But then also like with this out of phase setup is like, it's like insanely bright. It's just kind of like this, between this and that, there's a lot of stuff to mess with. Yeah. But I mean, I normally use two different amps, and so it's a different setup for here. But this is pretty good because I can make it work with a fresh off the belt Fender Deluxe.
Yeah, I'm sure people, if they tune in halfway through this video and catching the noises, especially from that last stomp that you showed us, they will never guess that it's a Fender.
Yeah,
that
it's just ridiculous because the Korg thing is just like for fun,
Yeah, and you had me at the graphic. When I saw that, I was like, well, this will be an interesting discussion point at some point when we talk about it in the rig rundown. But Emmett, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries, man.
I appreciate you.
Cheers.
Everyone out there, stay safe. And a big thank you to the Mercy Lounge. This might be the last time we film here, so thanks for doing Music City Right, guys.